It was a magical season for Oklahoma State this year. They brought home a Big 12 title for the first time in years. They bring home an NCAA trophy for the first time in a while, and they have the Hodge Trophy winner, the magical moment of magical moments, Wyatt Hendrickson taking out Gable Steveson, winning the Hodge Trophy. It's an amazing rookie season for David Taylor. And for the Cowboys to follow that up, to follow that success up, there's going to be a lot of different wrestlers in the lineup producing for Coach Taylor and the Cowboys. And as you look at the returning team points for Oklahoma State, you know, this is a team that scored over 100 at the NCAA tournament just last week. They have 28 total points returning. That's a very, very small amount of points. They lost Wyatt Hendrickson, Dean Hamady, both national champions. They lost Fish, and they lose Amin. So this is a lot to replace for a really good team. 4 All-Americans, 2 national champions. That's a lot. And so now as you look at the Oklahoma State roster, there's so many potential outcomes, so many potential lineups for Oklahoma State because they've got some quality wrestlers coming in from the portal, right? They've got a really good recruiting class coming in, I think the second overall recruiting class in the country this year. So with all that, there's no doubt they're going to have a really competitive lineup, but who goes where is still very much in question. Now, let's get to the additions. They've added Alex Facundo, transferring from Penn State to Oklahoma State. The question with Alex, where does he fit exactly? D. Lockett has made it very clear he intends to not just wrestle 165 next year, he plans on winning it. He's made that abundantly clear. So does Facundo go down to 57 where he spent a little time this year trying to get into the Penn State lineup? Does he go up to 174? Do they build him up? Because 174 is not a weight with a clear successor post Dean Hamady. That's one of the things to work out. Does D get bigger? Does D get smaller? These are all questions, right? To me, right now, this the kind of, you know, outside the inner circle, it feels like Facundo would go 174. Is he big enough? I don't know. We'll find out. They also added Casey Swiderski. Now, Casey Swiderski is going to be very helpful. This is a team that needed help at 149, right? And he comes in as an All-American, likely going to be able to produce. Is he going to be able to produce? Is he a title contending 149? I'm not sure on that. He's recovering from surgery, but one thing you know, you're going to get a fight every time out with Casey Swiderski. He's in a lot of his matches, and I think he could do really well. He's got a really nice collar and ankle series. That feels like a seamless fit with Coach Taylor and company, who's, you know, one of the great ankle pickers ever outside of Cale Sanderson. So it's a good fit style-wise for Casey Swiderski and Oklahoma State. But now, where do some of these big recruits fit in, right? Because you've got someone like Sergio Vega coming in. Is he a 33 or a 41? They could potentially use him at either weight class depending on what they do. Now, one thing that the Casey Swiderski edition creates is a little bit of, I don't know, maybe trouble with Tegan Jameson, in that Tegan, everyone can just watch him wrestle and see that he is just enormous at 141. Everyone knows what happened at Big 12s. Is a really hard weight cut for him, and whatever happened there, it was an issue, right? And so now you're basically shoehorning, on paper, Tegan into 141 again. Can he do that again? Can he make that weight effectively another year? He was not able to place this year, though he was All-American caliber, though he beat Brock Hardy and had a number of All-American wins. He wasn't able to put it together at the NCAA tournament. And so now you wonder, what does that mean for Tegan in the long term? Could he go up to 157? That would not shock me. And then maybe Vega goes in at 141 right away, because 33, you've got someone like J.J. McComas redshirted last year. You also have Cale Hughes as a potential depth option at 141. So a lot of options for the Cowboys in that 33, 41. 25 you feel great about. You got Troy Spradley. He just made the finals. He's got 2 years left. He looks like the right size for 125. So that's good. 33, 41, it feels like it's a combination of McComas, Vega, Tegan Jameson, right? 157, what happens there? Well, I already mentioned maybe Jameson does the double bump up there. They also have, I think, a ready-to-rock day one recruit in Landon Robidoux. I think he's a powerhouse, plain and simple. He's got a very fundamental baseline style that is going to keep him in a lot of matches right away. And so don't be surprised if Robidoux is viewed as an option at 157 for Oklahoma State right out the gate. And another thing that is certain is that David Taylor is going to put his best lineup on the mat every single time out. He's made that pretty clear, and that's just what I expect from him. So if Robidoux is the best guy, I wouldn't be surprised to see him in the lineup. And then, of course, they also have Teague Travis. I believe he has another year, so you could see him in one of these weights. 49 is where he wrestled, but they've got Swiderski there. So what you're hearing is a lot of names, and a lot of good names, a lot of names that can provide productivity. But there's also a lot of questions on the weight class and the fit, etc. D. Lockett comes in. He wants to go 65. Great. If they say, hey, maybe D needs a year. I don't think he needs a year. D probably doesn't think he needs a year. And I doubt that coaches think it. But if that's what happens, he gets injured, they could slide Facundo in at 74 or 65. And then 74 becomes a little more of a question, right? Braden Thompson wrestled at 74, but it feels like he's probably an 84 in my mind. And then you have Cody Merrill. Wherever he goes, you're going to feel great. And I tell you that, Oklahoma State fans. If he goes 70 or 97 or 84, you're going to feel great. And I think Cody could go 184. I think he is that size. Is that the best fit for Cody? Is that the best fit for Oklahoma State? That's the question. But either way, I mean, I invite you to go back and look at his Soldier Salute performance, where he stood toe-to-toe with Stephen Buchanan, wrestled him extremely tough, gave him some absolute battle. An absolute battle, was really hard to score on. He's only going to be better next year. So Merrill, I think he's a top 5 guy, whatever way he goes. I think that highly of him. Maybe the cart's a little bit ahead of the horse. I don't know. That's just how I view it. And then you've got heavyweight Connor Doucette. He's a national qualifier. He's been really solid for the Cowboys in the past. And do they look portal there also? You know, there's a good heavyweight in Hunter Kaka. Would Oklahoma State look at him? No idea. I'm just throwing that name out there. Or they could potentially ride with Doucette. There's good options for Oklahoma State, and they've already done a good job in the portal, bringing in Facundo, bringing in Swiderski. They also added Gary Steen from Oklahoma State. And with the portal right now, I think there's more names that are going to enter the portal. There's more potential options. But for right now, Oklahoma State's in good shape, and they could get even better with a few key additions. So a lot to be excited about at Oklahoma State, but there's also a ton of questions on who goes where for the Cowboys next year.